I'm with Thomas Pitilli, who is actually a comic book artist for the Archie Riverdale Comics.
Yeah, that's me. How you doing?
So today we're kind of just hanging out, going around town, and I'm just going to interview him, ask him questions about his story with starting out with comics and Riverdale and the process he's been going through. Are you ready to go?
For sure.
All right,
yeah.
let's go.
Yeah.
So, how did you get into comics originally?
Well, I've been like a lifelong nerd fan of comics. So I always wanted to make comics when I was a kid. And then I went to school. I went to School of Visual Arts, SVA, to study comics. And while I was there, I got a little bit like discouraged to make comics. I realized like, how much work goes into it. And just like there's like a kind of a tedious aspect of making comics. And I think I just got overwhelmed with it. So I changed my focus to just doing illustration, like editorial stuff, storyboarding, different kinds of illustration. And that's what I actually wound up doing after I graduated. And then it wasn't until probably about 4 years ago or so that I got back into comics. And now it's kind of what I'm doing full time at this point. So I needed to experiment with other forms of illustration before I felt like I was ready to get back into comics.
So what got you to go back into comics? Because you started out doing, right? Oh. Yeah. So you got into doing Riverdale, which kind of, tell us, like, is that what got you back into comics?
Kind of. I started doing just covers for Archie.
Okay.
And then, and that was a nice like introduction to comics because they were just like standalone images, and I was kind of used to that coming from the world of illustration that I was coming from. So so I just started doing covers, and then eventually they offered me more interior jobs doing actual comic pages, and it was super intimidating at first. I was like really scared because I was overwhelmed. I wasn't gonna be able to handle it, or I wasn't gonna be able to tell a story visually. And the first couple of issues that I did, I'm definitely still a little bit embarrassed by today. But it's one of those things, like the more you do it, the more you learn, the better you get. And I'm finally at the point now where I'm starting to have fun making comics.
Yeah.
It takes a while because there's so many things to sort of learn in the process, but and I'm just finding my voice, finding my style, and eventually I feel like I'm going to start having more and more fun as time goes on with comics.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there any comic series or characters you would love to do comics for? Like, do you have a dream one?
Actually, we're walking the wrong way. I think we gotta go this way.
Turning around?
Yeah, we'll turn
back
around.
we go.
Yeah, back we go. Comic series. There we go. I'm fortunate enough right now to be working with DC Comics on a long-form graphic novel.
Amazing.
I can't say too much about it.
I got to hear something about it, but I can't say anything.
You did, yeah.
I swore to secrecy, so until I get the okay, I can't say anything.
Yeah, no, there's some information out there about it for sure, but I get to work with a character, a DC Comics character that I grew up on. So that's been really cool, and it's definitely made me want to work with some more classic comic book characters, but kind of in telling a story through my own style.
Okay.
Right? So like not trying to mimic artists that I grew up on, rather just like be inspired by them and
kind of create your own superhero?
Yeah, or just create my own way of drawing that superhero, or my own way of telling that kind of story. So we'll see. Hopefully as time goes on, maybe I'll get to work with like a bunch of cool,
that'd be amazing,
classic characters.
Can you do Spider-Man one day?
Oh, that'd be cool.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be really cool. Yeah.
Did you see the Spider-Verse?
I didn't. No.
You didn't see it? It's
crazy.
so good.
I have to see it. Is it on like Netflix now?
No, it just probably got out of theaters now.
Oh, okay.
But we'll see.
I gotta wait. It looks amazing.
The artwork and stuff is phenomenal.
It looks like a perfect like blend of like a comic, animation, and like real life. So yeah, this is the first issue of the latest Riverdale series. It's based off of the latest season of the TV show. So season 3, issue 1. And yeah, I actually split art duty with Joe Eisma. I do the first story, he does the second story. We're both working with the same writer, and we get to work with different colorists and different letterers. So yeah, it's like 2 different creative teams, but hopefully seamless transition throughout. So yeah, the first 10 pages right now with my schedule, the way it is, since I'm working on other comic projects, this is like the most I can handle is 10 pages at this point on a monthly basis. So it kind of works out. But yeah, I'm proud of this issue. I really love what the colorist Andrei Seismanowicz, I think that's how you say his name. It's a tough one to pronounce. I really love what he did with the colors, and John, the letterer, did some really great work as well. So it's a fun issue. It's kind of like loosely based off of Hitchcock's Rear Window. So there's like some references to that classic film. And then the second story is really awesome as well. Joe Eisma did a really great job, and Matt Herms is the colorist. They did some really cool stuff. I love this page. I love all the reflective light on it. So yeah, it's kind of like you get 2 stories for the price of 1, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah, and then there's like a little bit of a quick preview of the next issue.
And then you did the cover for that one?
Yeah, I did the cover for that one. The cool thing about this new series is that me and Joe both do a cover each. So there's 2 variant covers. The last Riverdale series, they were running like a photograph on every cover, and that was a little bit, it was cool, but I'm partial to artwork, obviously, so yeah, so that's pretty cool.
So something I find interesting is how when I was reading it, I always like wondered, how do you do the layouts, the poses, and does the writer give you that detailed of a script to understand how to place everything and draw everything?
Yeah.
And the props that they're holding.
For sure, yeah, all the details are really there. The script reads a lot like a movie script or a TV script. Instead of shots, though, the writer will break it down into panels. So panel 1, Jughead is eating burger, playing poker, the whole crew is playing a poker, or some card game.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I know where the characters are, how they're interacting, who's sitting next to who, and then I get to have fun in terms of, I guess I'm like the director in a way, so I move the camera into the angles that I feel make it the most readable and as clear as possible for the reader to experience the story in a way that makes sense. Sometimes when you're reading the script, there's so much going on, there's so many words and there's so much description. It's my job to kind of simplify that visually and figure out how that's going to work with the dialogue that's going to be read. So comics are like a weird thing where it's like this perfect blend, when it works right, the perfect blend of visuals and words, and then the reader's mind kind of brings those 2 together.
Between the panels, it kind of like fills in the blanks, like your brain can fill in the blanks. Kind of like how when like you see the words that like they have the first and the last letter are the same, but then the rest of the letters that spell the word are like scrambled.
You just do it though. Your brain does it.
Your brain just like fills it in.
Yeah, there's a great book. I don't know if you ever read it called Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud.
I bought that actually because after when we met, that's researching stuff. I was kind of interested in doing comics.
Okay.
I'm still terrified of it. It's a whole new realm for me.
It's very terrifying.
But I did buy that book too, so.
Cool, yeah, it's definitely worth reading. It goes very deep into like the theory behind comics. Yeah. It's less about how to draw. There's really no how to draw or how to write, but it's more about what happens in the mind of the reader. And so, yeah, that space between the panels he refers to as the gutter, and so that's really where the story happens. You're giving a little clue in panel 1 and another clue in panel 2, and then the reader fills in the gap within that gutter. But you have to give them the right clues from one panel to the next
in order to understand it.
Yeah, exactly. Gotcha. So it's like, it's tricky. For me, it's kind of like a puzzle. There's a lot of like thinking that has to go into it. Like the layout aspect of it, that's the hardest part. because that's when I'm really like organizing this whole thing and trying to, it's kind of like I'm storyboarding a film when I'm doing layouts. Everything after that is more of just like labor intensive, but the layout part is really where like your thinking happens.
So how long did it take for you to get used to filling in the gaps between? Because I feel like that's like a lot of practice to understand, like, as like, I know you're a fan of comics, always read them since you were young, but I guess what helped you really, is it just the book that helped you dissect more on how to do the gutters, or was it a lot of practice, like sketching it and stuff?
Yeah, it's just practice. I mean, I'm still figuring it out. I definitely don't feel like an expert at all. I feel like with every issue and with every project that I work on with comics, I'm hopefully getting a little bit better. But yeah, I definitely don't have, there's music.
Oh no.
But yeah, I don't.
Ready. Okay, so for this issue, can you share with us how you created this scene within the first page?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we'll do start to finish.
Cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Cool. So after I read the script, I start to make something called a layout, which is just a really rough version of what I want the page to look like. And sometimes I'll do several versions of this until I get it right. The writer in the script breaks down panel to panel in the story. So she indicated that on this page she wanted 3 different panels. I think it turned out to be 4. Oh no, it stayed 3. And so I'll do this quick sketch of the page. I send that to the editor, and then as long as the editors don't have any issues with it, it'll be good for me to go on to final inks. So with the inks, let me make this a little smaller. I pretty much just work in layers. So although I'm working digitally, I kind of mimic how I would work if I were working traditionally. So I'll turn all of these off first. And it starts with that rough sketch layer, and then I'll build up more and more detail. So these will be sort of my pencils, quote unquote. Just working out the proportions, the details, tweaking the compositions. Oftentimes I'll redraw an image until I get it right. I'll make that a little darker. So once I get it to a point where it's all roughed in, I'll do backgrounds and perspective on a different layer just to make sure everything's working. That's kind of the benefit of working digitally. It's harder to do that stuff when you're working traditionally. And then after that, then I go in and I start with my basic line work, where I do all the outlines, the details, facial expressions, and then from there I'll add in some of the backgrounds, put the borders in. Actually, the borders go in first. I work within that structure. And then I'll do, like, for instance, Veronica was wearing glasses in the scene, so I'll do the glasses on a separate layer. I think I did the cards on that layer as well. So there's benefits to working digital, and that's certainly one of them. Some of the little, like, objects on the table, and this is where all the heavier black areas come in. I do that on a separate layer, and then I come in with some white just to do like hair strands and some lines that come out of the darkness in the background. Block in some of that just for basic page composition. I like to lay in sometimes
The black background?
Black background, yeah. So that's on its separate layer, and the table is on another layer as well. So that's about it. Some pages are less layers than others. It just depends on how much detail and background there is. But this generally will take me about, from start to finish, it should take me about a day and a half or so to complete. Sometimes a little faster, sometimes, unfortunately, a little longer than that. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, so we interrupt this interview for a quick little out of your world experience, or in your world experience. so cool.
I gotta take my own.
All right. Do this and
Yeah.
So is this where you also draw?
Yeah, this is
Hang
one of
out?
the spots. Yeah, like I was saying, after a while, you kind of just get put onto different places that you can take your work. I'm freelance, so I try to just take advantage of not having to work in one place. So I make the city my office. I just work all over the place. This place got a great view. Yeah, this is what I was talking about.
Amazing.
That's like where it's most.
Now I know why you work out over here. How did you get recommended like this spot per se? And we're at the where were we again?
This is Hotel Indigo.
It is so gorgeous and it's literally like an artwork, like everywhere you go.
It's a crazy view.
The view is phenomenal.
No, most of the people you meet in places like this are like entrepreneur, like startup people.
Okay.
Everyone's just like on their laptop taking calls. But people are like really productive, and even if you're not like having active conversations with everyone, there's just that like vibe of like people working. And if other people are working next to you, you kind of have no excuse to not work as well. Yeah, there's a bunch of different, there's some cafes, all that.
That's cool.
I feel like I look like the kid from Home Alone with my hat on.
Can you make the face? Wait,
No.
do the face.
Just the hat.
What is this a line for?
Oh, this is cat.
That's great.
Oh. I'll do it. Like the show?
No, you know Cat's Deli?
No, sorry.
Oops.
No.
Oh, it's like a famous deli in New York.
Apparently,
People,
because
yeah,
there's
it's
people lining up around the
crazy
block.
line. Yeah, it's on all the like
Top places to go.
food shows, blogs, everything. It's been there for like 100 years or something like that.
How have I never heard of this?
Yeah, it's known for its like big pastrami sandwiches.
Damn.
It's like just overpriced tourist trap. Really, you can probably get a better sandwich any place in Brooklyn or something like that.
Thomas, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and letting me interview you. We learned so much, and I'm so thankful. And also, too, before I forget, Free Comic Book Day is May 4th.
Yeah.
And the Riverdale issue will be one of the free comics, so make sure you go out and get one and check out more of his comics.
Cool. Thanks for having me. This is a lot of fun.
I had a blast. Thank you so much.
Cool. No problem. No problem. Go catch a train.
Catch a train. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.